Thank you, Brady. Hey, all. So I'm a computational linguist, which means I make computers understand people, which means it's my fault that the future hasn't delivered on the talking robots that we've all been promised. For 50 years, they've been 5 years away, and right now I estimate they're probably about 5 years away. Perhaps just a little bit more. Most famously, in 1967, audiences looked at HAL 9000. This is the only robot I'm naming, the rest you'll have to guess. They saw that HAL could play chess. They balked at the idea. There is no way a computer could be smart enough to play a human in chess. This same audience did not bat an eyelid that this computer was having a fluent English conversation at the same time. In fact, it hadn't just mastered English, it mastered subtle condescension within English. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet. Where we are at, though, is with computers that can't speak to you, but they can understand you. So the idea of this talking robot, it predates most of the modern religions. Our idea about talking robots predates most of our modern ideas about what God is like. And it's been an uneasy relationship from the start. They're going to replace slaves, or are they themselves slaves? And I'm here to convince you tonight that, in fact, you do have talking robots listening to everything that you're doing, and they're controlling how smart you are, who your friends are, how you read the news, they're protecting your health, they're moving you around, and also they're killing your enemies for you. So in the 5 minutes I've got, I'm going to go through each of these quickly. So who here has a graduate degree from here in the US? Like probably a lot of this crowd, right? So if you sat the GREs, the writing component of your GRE was partially marked by a robot. It was a program which was looking at your speech and judging the quality of your English. And this happens for everybody. So for 500,000 to 1 million people a year, their educational futures are in part determined by, well, if not a speaking robot, a robot that is understanding your language and making a decision about your aptitude by reading that language. The same is true on social media. You don't get to see all the status updates of your friend when you're interacting with social media. It's determined by, among other things, the interactions that you've had in the past. So these algorithms are looking at your language, determining which of your friends are your better friends and your worst friends by the nature of the speech between you and your friends, and then putting those higher up in your newsfeed, the more likely to appear. And so for some people who use social media as the majority of their interactions, they now have an artificial intelligence, which we know almost nothing about, mediating what is the most important things in their lives, interaction with their friends and families. Same technologies behind the news. If you get your news filtered by social media, or you use programs like Wavi or Prismatic, again, it's algorithms which are determining which news articles you're looking at based on what you've read in the past. And if you're from Twitter, they say the algorithms are not part of them. There's anti-robot discrimination here. Much more broadly, it's protecting your health. Epidemics are the greatest killers in the world, and they're often reported openly in media, in plain language, for weeks or even months before they're finally identified as a new virus. This was true for swine flu. It was actually a Canadian-based artificial intelligence, take that, Silicon Valley, which first identified this report about swine flu in Mexico, realized that it was not the regular flu, and then a human was able to look at this and identify that it was, in fact, a new kind of disease. And though we're not going towards speaking robots quickly, we are making advances in artificial intelligence quicker than we're increasing the ratio of doctors to patients in the world. So this is one area that is going to expand in years to come. So beyond protecting your health, one robot that you might come across sooner rather than later is one that masters speech, maybe not also with subtle condescension like here, but one is moving you around and transporting you. It's not going to look like Johnny Cab from Total Recall. It's probably going to look more like this, like the Google car. And you're going to interact with that in speech, among other things. So your first personal speaking robot is going to be one that you'll strap yourself into, the doors will lock, and then it's going to take you down the freeway at 60 to 80 miles an hour. So hopefully you're going to trust that. A little more darkly, robots are also helping kill your enemies. So after September 11th, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed got upset that he wasn't getting enough attention for his work. He gave an audio interview with Al Jazeera bragging about his role in 9/11. This was enough to train up algorithms to monitor every satellite phone call coming out of the region and identify his voice, which led to his capture, and then to snipers fly in a stealth helicopter into a compound in Pakistan and eventually capturing Osama bin Laden. Khalid got his fame in the end. This is the photo that made him famous, which should be a reminder for how you end up looking when you take on some of the smartest speaking robots in the world. You're going to come off second best in this weird future dystopia. And if all these examples have made you a little bit uneasy, then I think they should. The examples I gave should have improved your lives at some point, hopefully for the better, but who is to say that it is the Autobots controlling all these kind of robots which are monitoring what you speak and changing your life, when it could be the Decepticons just as easily. So did you guess them all? All right, thank you very much.